Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Joel from Static ATX Records. Um, so at the end of June 2026 is officially the 1 year mark for the physical location that the record store is currently in. And it's a little bit over 2 years since I officially created the business called Static ATX. I went back and watched the first video that I made where I was quote unquote introducing Static ATX, just to kind of remind myself what it was like back then. When I first started out, I had a very simple website. I was just selling like a handful of used records. Um, and it kind of snowballed into this thing that's become, what it is today. And you know when the you know when the lease was up, or when the lease is up at the end of this month, I've had to make a decision about whether or not I renew the lease, or what I've you know what I want to do. And and I've been thinking about it and everything like that. So I want to go back through like a little bit of how this started. When I first started, there were some things that I mentioned in the first video where I offered free shipping on orders over 50. I didn't have a physical store, so I was offering free delivery around Austin. I said that I specialized in goth, industrial, punk, new wave, and synth pop, but I was expanding and I was going to start carrying some soul and jazz and some other styles of music. Um, and obviously the website looked the way that it did at that time. The website has changed a few times. I changed the overall look of it a few times. I've had to do and redo the inventory a few times as I learned better ways to organize things on the back end. Um, and I've expanded how much music I carry. I've expanded not only the number of records that I carry, but also the styles, even beyond what I initially said. I created a whole electronic music section where I carry a lot of down tempo and a few techno records thrown in there. But I mainly focus on like down tempo and there's some IDM kind of stuff, glitchy stuff, and all that. And then I have a country section. That was a lot of what I've done in the past year. Having the store open is kind of learn about the local community here, learn about what they're into, and I've met a whole lot of people that are really into what already I was carrying. A lot of people are very happy with it, but I've also met a lot of people that were into some other stuff, right? Obviously, a lot of country I've had to learn about. I knew about like 80s and 90s country, but learning about current bands like Red Clay Strays and Sturgill Simpson and Chris Stapleton and all them. And then um, I had to start carrying a lot more metal. I didn't have any metal really in the store, but a lot of people wanted stuff like mostly some of the more popular artists like Metallica, Megadeth, Iron Maiden, um, Black Sabbath, stuff like that. These were all artists that I was not carrying before. Jazz hasn't really taken off in the store. Soul, it does a little bit, but my section's not that big. It never really got bigger. I just carry like some of the heavy hitters like Sam Cooke and the Temptations and stuff like that. Um, I had to end the free shipping over 50, um, because it was just cutting like it doesn't seem like that big of a deal to like shipping is anywhere from like $5 and some change to $8 and some change. but with margins the way they are, like I made the decision to end that. It hasn't changed anything about the business. I'm more orders than ever. I don't think it brought business, and I don't think ending it made me lose business. Same thing with the free delivery. There were a few people in Austin that were taking advantage of the free delivery that don't anymore, but it's like one or two people. So it's just something I had to do because of time. I didn't have enough time to take things down, and I where I before I would deliver in a timely manner, and I had to stop doing that, or I wasn't able to do that. So it's like I had to make people wait like 3, 4, 5 days before I could deliver, and it was just what I felt like I couldn't give a good experience, so I wanted to end it. Um, So yeah, the store has evolved and changed a lot in the last year. Obviously, I participated in Record Store Day for the first time as a store. That was an interesting experience, and I learned a lot. Um, Now let's get into I've said this many times over the years um, that the record store was kind of an experiment to see, can it make money? What is I wanted to learn about the record business and all of that. The good news is that the record store is profitable. Um, it's not enough to like sustain a living. Even just I still just run it all by myself. I do have one main friend, Stevie. That shout out to Stevie if he's watching this video. Um, he's helped out. He helped me at the Awesome Record Convention this past time. He comes by the shop every once in a while and helps out. Does stuff here and there, and it's very much appreciated. But I'm still mostly just doing everything by myself. Um, and just on that topic, I realized like it is really hard to do this by yourself. It means I can never take a day off. I literally work 7 days a week. 4 days out of the week I'm working, or no, 5 days out of the or anyway, many days of the week I'm working 2 jobs because I still have my day job, and that's my main focus is my day job, honestly. Like, I like my day job, and it takes up a lot of my time and energy, so, I don't have a ton of time to focus on the store like I want to. Um but the store doesn't earn enough money to for me to do that, and I'm not completely sure what I would have to do so that it would. I just don't know if it'll work, if it could ever do that in Liberty Hill. There's just not enough customers. Like today, I'm recording this video on a Thursday. Some Thursdays I'm a little bit busier than others. This today I only had one uh, group of people. It was a group of four guys, and three of them bought something, but they bought like a $10 record, a $15 CD. Like it's just not enough. Like I'm you can't earn enough money. There's just not enough customers in Liberty Hill, which it's fine. Like with what I'm doing right now, the way I described this to my wife when I was talking to her about it today was that, and I'm sorry for this being kind of stream of consciousness, just kind of like blathering on. So pardon me for that. With the store the size that it is, I'm able to do it alone, while still having a day job. If I were to move to a busier location, either in Austin or Georgetown or whatever, I wouldn't be able to do run it the way that I am right now. Like I'd have to get help. So I'd have to fundamentally change the way the business is, and I'm just not ready to do that yet. So um so I'm in this like weird situation where I'm not making enough money to hire someone to help me, but I can't grow the business and do a lot of the things that I want to do because I have to do it by myself and I only have so much time to do it in, you know. So it's just weird situation. So I feel bad. Like I tell people like, I want to get more used records out. I have like a huge backlog of thousands of records that I want to put out and thousands of CDs that I want to put out. I just don't have enough time to do it. Um, so I'm doing a disservice to the store by not taking the time to do that. It's just I don't have the time. So I have to go slowly. Um, and I'm slow anyway. So it's like it's a weird, I'm not somebody who's like able to move like a million miles a second. Anyway, um, so aside from that, there's like the whole experiment is like, learning about the distributors, the distribution system, the pricing, the ecosystem of record stores and there's been times when I've got my head full of ideas of things that I could do and make changes and form coalitions and all this kind of stuff. And I'm not saying like I'm jaded or anything like that, but I just don't. It's such a well-oiled machine that it's hard, like it would be such an enormous amount of work, and I'm not even sure if it'd work. The reality is that the older stores, the stores that have been around for many, many decades, have relationships with distributors and labels that just aren't possible for new stores to have. They're not allowing it to happen. Um, and so as a result, they get slightly better pricing. They might get stuff like free shipping from these folks or whatever. I don't know the extent to what all they're able to get, but I've tried to get these things. Like I've tried to get accounts with the major labels, and they're just not opening them. They're just not responding. I've even talked directly to them, asked them directly, "Can I have an account?" And they don't even say no. They just don't answer me. They just pretend like I didn't even say anything. So there is a huge swath of music that I would like to carry, but financially, it's just not feasible to carry it because the margins are so tiny. I don't want to get into all the details. I've made some videos in the past, but there are like really popular titles that literally, if I were to buy them and sell them in the store, I would lose money doing that. Um, not a ton of them. There's plenty of records I can carry where I can make money. But the point still remains that like it's absurd to think that a store should just, take a loss or sell something for like pennies, uh, just as like a part of doing business. And I hear a lot, and even heard from other store owners like that's just the way it is. And it's like, why? Why do you accept that? Like, why? I still don't understand that. I still don't understand that mentality of like, oh, like we're just accepting the way things are that are shitty and why there's certain stores, and I'm not going to call any of them out, certain stores that do super high volume, and they're obviously making a lot of money, right? They're able to invest in their website to build it up and get even more orders, and there's like a small handful of them, you know um but most stores are just kind of in the same boat that I am, where we're making a little bit, not a lot. And I think that and I'm not complaining. It's just it's just a reality, you know what I mean? Uh you know so yeah, I've obviously, so anyway, so when I'm thinking about what to do with the store, I think about the amount of time I'm investing. All the time that I spend at the store is time I'm not spending at home with my family. It's time I'm not spending doing any of my other hobbies that I have. It's time I'm not spending traveling or doing any number of other things, and it wears on you mentally. It's kind of funny. There's a store, and again, I'm leaving names out of here, but I follow them on social media, and the owner of the store, I don't know their situation. I don't know how many, if they have employees or whatever. From what I could tell, it's one person running it, kind of like mine. And he said that he was closing his store down on Thursday, taking like a mental day or whatever. And it's like, I get it. Sometimes that's what I wanna do, you know what I mean? Um, anyway, this is getting a little rambly. I hopefully I had some structure in there that gave you guys some information about what's going on with the store, but anyway, not to bury the lead too far. I did make the decision. Everything's not fully signed and everything like that, but I did renew the lease for the store for another year. Um, so Static ATX will be staying open for at least another year. I did change the hours, and I changed the hours maybe 2 weeks ago. I'm still going to be open Thursday through Sunday, but instead of opening up at 10 a.m., I'm gonna open up at 11 a.m. And instead of staying open until 8 p.m., I'm closing at 7 p.m. And mostly that's because no one showed up those hours that I was open anyway. So, and I'm just trying to shorten the day a little bit to kind of like free up some of my time. Um, uh, yeah, so it's basically 11 to 7 Thursday through Saturday, and then Sunday I'm doing noon to 6 or something like that. It's on the website. I make sure to keep the hours updated on the Static ATX website, and then also on Google Maps, which I think it updates Apple Maps for those iPhone users and all that. Um, I'm continuing to make updates to the website. I have some updates that are going to be going live in the next week or so to help some of the navigation, additional ones than the ones that I made last time. I've added um genres to all the items, and I'm gonna allow you, and I'm gonna have a way for you to look at them all. This is kind of like a callback to how I originally had it a long time ago, but this is gonna be much better. I'm also putting in some framework to potentially start adding used records to the website. Um, in doing this, and also CDs again. I started adding CDs and then I stopped. And I'm going to hopefully start adding the CDs back again to the website. Um, so yeah, part of me wants to do kind of like an AMA to, to give people an opportunity to ask questions. Probably there's not a whole lot of people that have questions, but you know, I still am really interested in talking about the subject of record stores, like how they run, what's all the behind the scenes stuff, you know, how, what's going on with the distributors, um and some of like all like the, I don't know, just the overall behind the scenes kind of stuff. Um but anyway, I should sound more excited, but I'm really tired. I'm really tired. I'm tired all the time. I feel like I'm walking around like a zombie most days because of how tired and I am all the time. And this is something I really need to work on. I need to work on my health. I need to work on freeing up some time so that I could relax and kind of unwind a little bit more instead of constantly staying busy doing stuff. I'm really I'm really strongly thinking about stepping back from all the YouTube and social media stuff, which is kind of weird because I kind of need to ramp up the social media stuff to help promote the store, but I really don't want to. I've talked to other store owners that have like heavy YouTube presence, and I'm not interested. Like I don't mind doing a video like this, like where I just talk and I'm doing whatever. Um, but I don't want to do a bunch of other social media stuff. It's just it doesn't come naturally to me. But sometimes I feel like I just need to suck up and do it anyway. Um, there's something else I was gonna say. Let me think if I can remember what it was. Yeah, sorry. I completely lost my train of thought. There was something I was going to talk about. So yes, it's a clickbait title. Is Static ATX Records closing down? I'm doing that because normally when I do these store update videos, I get like 40 views or something like that. I'm hoping maybe this will give me more views. Um, and to be honest with you, after I record this, I'm gonna upload it. I'm gonna watch it. I might try to watch it before I upload it if I can, and I might re-record it because I'm sure I've been a rambling mess of a person in all of this. I'm also not looking at the camera, which I probably should be looking at the camera. Um, Another piece of news is I am purging the collection. You can't really see it back here. You can kind of see it. I started purging these. I've done the first row here. Um, this empty space used to be filled. There's empty space behind here, which you can't see, and an empty space here. I'm going through and I'm going to start purging the collection. I also have a bunch of the collection that are in these boxes over here, right here. I also have all these CDs up here. I'm going to start purging a lot of this stuff. I realized a lot of people in the VC, like friends of mine and stuff, are going through this like spring cleaning purge kind of thing, and it just really got me thinking. I have all these records. I don't have time to listen to them. Some of these records I haven't. I had sealed records that I bought like years ago that I hadn't even opened up yet. Um, and when I really think about it, I have no intention of ever opening them up. You know what I mean? Like I've moved past it and I'm not interested in listening to it. So I'm putting all those up for sale. I took the first box of them to the store. I use these boxes here. A lot of people ask about these. The brand is called Really Useful Box. They sell them it's a UK company, I believe, but they sell them at the Container Store. Um, I recommend waiting until they go on sale. Container Store usually does a sale a couple times a year. Um, but I have a whole box filled with stuff from my personal collection that I'm selling. It's just the one of many. I want all of my collection to fit on these shelves that I have in this room. Right now, they don't. I have all of this. All of these shelves were full. I have all these boxes. I got more boxes off camera you can't see, and I got another one of these shelves like this in the other room, and it has a bunch of records on it. So, um, I want to pare all of this way down to just like the stuff that I'm mainly going to be listening to. Um, I am listening to them before I purge them. So I think I made a social media post. I was thinking about the things that I was going to purge that I pulled back. There's a band called Alpaca. Most people aren't going to be interested in that album, but it is a fun album. I still like it. Every time I put it on, I enjoy listening to it. Ali Barter did an album. I don't even know the title. Let me see if I can look up the title. It's called Hello, I'm Doing My Best. I just really like that album. Like these are records. A lot of the records I'm going through and thinking about purging are records that I've thought about purging in the past, and I'll put them in a purge pile. Then I'll listen to them and be like, "Damn, that's a really good album," and I take it out. Um, that Ali Bar, I don't really know what happened to Ali Barter, but I like the album personally. It doesn't look like she's released anything since that album. I wonder what happened to her. She's a singer from Australia. Oh, her website expired. Yeah, maybe she gave up making music. Anyway, I'm glad I have the her last album because I guess that's it for her. Um, But there's a handful of things that I've already listened to that I am purging. I'm purging. Anyway, I'll show them. They're on. I'll make a video or something maybe, or they're in the store if you want to come by. We're also going to do a massive CD sale at the store. I think I'm going to start out just making them all $5, just like $5 CDs. See how many I can sell at $5, and then um, you can go from there and see what else I want to do. I have I have like 1,000 CDs in storage. I have 1,000 or more in boxes in the store. Same thing with the records. I have so many things. I just have like a huge backlog. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy that has a storage unit filled with stuff, and then I just get jaded one day and I'm like everything's a penny, you know. Um anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. 25-minute video. This is a horrible video. Let's just be honest. It is. Anyway, Static ATX is not shutting down. I renewed the lease for another year. Yay. Come shop. You know, all the used vinyl right now that I have on the table in the back room is 50% off, including the wall records. Um, I want to kind of clear that out. That a lot of that stuff it's mostly stuff that I've had for a while in the store, and then there's a bunch of the new stuff that I took to the Awesome Record Convention. Um, but I need to make room for more stuff, so I want to kind of clear out as much of that as I can. And like I said, we're gonna do a $5 CD sale. I gotta find room. I might set it up in the I already kind of like estimated how much space I need, and I need at least two 8-foot tables with all the boxes that I have of CDs. So I'm probably gonna set them up outside, but I don't have a tent yet, like cover, and it's hot in Texas already. So anyway, blah blah blah. If you have any questions, you can ask in the comments below. I'm sorry for this rambly video. Um, I know you can't tell, but I am excited. I'm just really tired. I'm trying to work on my health so I can be less tired. I get sleep. I got 8 hours sleep last night, and yet I still look like a zombie, and I feel like a zombie. Um, but don't be surprised if I start showing up on streams less and less. You know, I don't know. Anyway, peace out. Hope you guys have a good weekend. Hopefully your work week one is going well and everything is going well in your life. I'm gonna head out. Peace.